Universal design is the design and composition of an environment so that it can be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest extent possible by all people, regardless of their age, size, ability, or disability. An environment, be it any building, product, or service in that environment, should be designed to meet the needs of all the people who wish to use it. This is not a special requirement for the benefit of only a minority of the population. It is a fundamental condition of good design. If an environment is accessible, usable, convenient, and a pleasure to use, everyone benefits. By considering the diverse needs and abilities of all throughout the design process, universal design creates products, services, and environments that meet people's needs. Simply put, universal design is the good design. Universal design is a goal that puts high values on diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. Universal or inclusive design is the design and composition of an environment so that it may be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest possible extent in the most independent and natural manner possible, in the widest possible range of situations, without the need for adaptation, modification, assistive devices, or specialized solutions by any persons of any age or size or having any particular physical, sensory, mental health, or intellectual ability or disability. Means in relation to electronic systems, any electronic based process of creating products, services, or systems so that they may be used by any person. Universal design should incorporate a two-level approach. User-aware design implies pushing the boundaries of mainstream products, services, and environments to include as many as people as possible. Customizable design, designed to minimize the difficulties of adaptation to particular users. With both these levels in mind, it can also be helpful to view universal design at micro and macro level. A single design feature or a simple product designed so that it can be used by as many people as possible. At this level, the designer is not expected to find one design solution that accommodates the needs of 100% of the population, as universal design is not one size fits all. Rather, designers are urged to explore design solutions that are more inclusive, those designs that push the boundaries as far out as possible without compromising the integrity or quality of the product. If more than one option is available for a design feature, choose the most inclusive one. For example, when installing a handle on a door, it is always better to opt for a lever handle rather than a doorknob, as a lever handle can be opened using the elbow or a closed fist, benefiting people carrying shopping bags as well as people with limited strength in their hands. At this level, the designer has the opportunity to combine accessible and usable design features with customizable or adaptable features alongside more specialized design solutions that deal with most extremely usability issues. By stepping back from the individual features and looking at the product, service, or environment as a whole, designers are in a position to investigate alternatives providing equivalent experience to users. Examples include a user-friendly website that meets Web Accessibility Initiative's Web Content Accessibility Guidelines version 2, known as WCAG 2.0, has a customizable user interface and is compatible with assistive technologies. The principles of universal design enable designers to better integrate features that meet the needs of as many users as possible towards the goal of universal design. The purpose of the principles is to guide the design of environments, products, and communications. The principles may be applied to evaluate existing designs, guide the design process, and educate both designers and consumers about the characteristics of a more usable product or environment. The principles of universal design may be applied in different ways depending on the design discipline. The design is useful and marketable to people with diverse abilities. provide the same means of use for all users, identical whenever possible, equivalent when not possible. Avoid segregating or stigmatizing any users. Provisions for privacy, security, and safety should be equally available to all users. Make the design appealing to all users. The design accommodates a wide range of individual preferences and abilities. Provide choice in methods of use, accommodate right or left-handed access and use, facilitate the user's accuracy and precision, provide adaptability to the user space. Use of design is easy to understand regardless of the user's experience, knowledge, language skills, or current concentration levels. Eliminate unnecessary complexity, be consistent with user expectations and intuition, accommodate a wide range of literacy and language skills, arrange information consistent with its importance, provide effective prompting and feedback during and after task completion. The design communicates necessary information effectively to the user regardless of ambient conditions or the user's sensory abilities. Use different modes for redundant presentation of essential information. Provide adequate contrast between essential information and its surroundings. Maximize legibility of essential information. Provide compatibility with a variety of techniques or devices used by people with sensory limitations. The design minimizes hazards and the adverse consequences of accidental or unintended actions. Arrange elements to minimize hazards and errors. Most used elements, most accessible, hazardous elements eliminated, isolated, or shielded. Provide warnings of hazards and errors. Provide fail-safe features. Discourage unconscious actions in tasks that require vigilance. The design can be used efficiently and comfortably and with minimum of fatigue. Allow user to maintain a neutral body position, use reasonable operating forces, minimize repetitive actions, and minimize sustained physical effort. Appropriate size and space is provided for approach, reach, manipulation, and use regardless of user's body size, posture, or mobility. Provide a clear line of sight to important elements for any seated or standing user. Make reach to all components comfortable for any seated or standing user. Accommodate variations in hand and grip size. Provide adequate space for the use of assistive devices or personal assistants. Children with physical or language disabilities may need properly designed wheelchairs, adaptive switches, speech synthesizers, and other assistive devices. Assistive technologies will always have a role in the education of learners with disabilities, and the universal design will not eliminate the need for personal assistive devices. However, exclusive emphasis on assistive technologies places the burden of adaptation on the learner, not the curriculum. The idea that students must procure or be prescribed special individual tools whenever they cannot use standard curricula essentially burdens the victims of poor curriculum design. Curricula should be flexible enough to meet the needs of greatest possible variety of learners. As universal design becomes more viable and pervasive, the power of assistive technology can be devoted to providing more efficient interaction with a curriculum that is already access aware. For students who need it, assistive technology will no longer be required to overcome barriers in a poorly designed curriculum, but will enhance active interaction with a curriculum that has been designed at the outset to be accessible to all. Universal design goes beyond accessible design for people with disabilities to make all aspects of the educational experience more inclusive for students, parents, staff, instructors, administrators, and visitors with a great variety of characteristics. These characteristics include those related to gender, race, and ethnicity, age, stature, disability, and learning style. Universal design focuses on the ability of teachers to meet the diverse learning needs of all the students, even those with impairments that affect their mobility, vision, hearing, and learning. Teachers must recognize that there are multiple and flexible ways of providing effective instruction while adhering to curricular standards and objectives. Thanks to technology, universal design enables students to respond to and interact with curricula and achieve learning standards. Universal design embeds accessible features into curriculum design from the beginning. It is proactive, like having built in accommodations that provide immediate accessibility for all the students. Universal design inherently provides multiple and flexible instructional methodologies to ensure that all the students can access, participate in, and progress in the curriculum. Universal design meets the diverse needs of all the students. Universal design corresponds to the concepts of differentiated instruction, that there are four classroom elements that should be taken into account to ensure differentiated instruction. These are content, process, product, and learning environment. Both seek to enhance student achievement by proactively designing learning environments and instruction materials in ways that allow all students to be successful. At present, the standard tests rely on visual medium. They are not differentiated. There is still pressure to prepare students for success on standardized tests. Students and teachers are evaluated based on how well students are able to read random passages, make sense of them, and write their responses all within a given time limit. The content itself is not engaging, the format is even less engaging, and the stakes are high, which creates stress for all. States and districts are having trouble in attempting to retrofit existing tests to be more inclusive. Universal design focuses on the central idea that all people, even those with disabilities, be able to effectively use and interact with their environment. While universal design has its start in architecture, the concept has been applied to several other disciplines, including education and technology. Universal design is the design that meets all needs equally. Universal design incorporates cultural, economic, engineering, environmental, and other gender considerations in addition to usability. The principle of universal design enables designers to better integrate features that meets the need of as many as users as possible towards the goal of universal design. Universal design for learning basically focuses on the ability of teachers to meet the diverse learning needs of all the students, even those with impairments that affect their mobility, vision, hearing, and learning. Teachers must recognize that there are multiple and flexible ways of providing effective instruction while adhering to curricular standards and objectives. Thanks to technology, universal design enables students to respond to and to interact with curricula and achieve learning standards.